Yes, actually, I forgot to show you the slides in the previous video. So let me start with the first slide that I wanted you to have a look at it. You can see the slides slowly, one by one, I will show you, and I will halt at this slide where we completed our free 15 minutes of this particular software. So this is the first slide about the definition of verb. I am going to simply show you so that if you want to take a screenshot of it, you can take it and you can relate it with the video. This is the third slide. It's the fourth one, fifth one, finite verbs, non-finite verbs. These are the examples of non-finite verbs like gerund, infinitive and participles, both present as well as past. Yes, this is what I was talking about. As you can see in the slide, the different actions performed by different people, and as it is similar to what we discuss about the definition of verb. Action verbs indicate what exactly the subject is doing in a sentence. So this is very important to know because all these 5 forms of the verbs are applicable to this kind of action verbs. Now action verb has 2 major types. This is what I wanted to highlight on because the transformation topic like active voice and passive voice that we are going to discuss in the next videos or consecutive videos, you will realize that unless and until the sentence is transitive verb, having transitive verb, we cannot change the voice, maybe active voice to passive voice or passive voice to active voice. So in order to understand whether the given verb is transitive or intransitive, we need to understand if there is presence of object in a given sentence. Now how to identify object in a given sentence? There are 2 things that we need to understand. If we ask a sentence what, if we ask a question what to a given sentence or the verb of the given sentence, and if we get the answer, that answer to the question what is direct object. Similarly, if we ask another question like to whom, answer to the question to whom is indirect object. Take an example. I gave 20 rupees to Aryan. Now I is the subject, gave is the verb, 20 rupees. What did I give? 20 rupees. So answer to the question what is direct object, and whom did I give 20 rupees? Aryan. So Aryan is indirect object. So make sure if there is either of the object in a given sentence, the verb of such sentence is transitive verb, and if there is absence of object but still the sentence is complete or having meaning, it is intransitive verb. The verb of such sentence is intransitive verb. In the absence of object, the verb is intransitive. In the presence of object, the verb is transitive. We must understand and identify if there is an object in a given sentence. Objects are of 2 types, as I said, direct object and indirect object. In order to understand direct object, we need to ask the question what to the verb of the given sentence, and in order to get the answer, in order to get indirect object, we need to ask the question to whom to the verb of the given sentence. As I said, I gave 20 rupees to Aryan. Herein 20 rupees is direct object and Aryan is indirect object. The next one is helping or linking verb. See, though action verbs are very important, unless and until helping verbs are there or linking verbs, or you can call them auxiliary verbs, are there, we may not be able to understand the tense of the given sentence, when and how the action is being performed by the subject. So these helping verbs are very important, and we should know these helping verbs and their present tense forms as well as past tense forms. If we fail to identify it, we fail to understand the tense, and if we fail to understand the tense, everything, any exercise in grammar, any transformation in grammar that we do, we fail to do it correctly. So please pay attention to these things. Number 1 is primary auxiliary. Second column, present tense and past tense. Now what are the primary auxiliaries? To be, to have and to do. Now the primary auxiliary to be has present tense forms like am, is, are. Past tense forms was and were. Primary auxiliary to have it has two present tense forms like have and has, past tense form had. To do, it has present tense form do and does, and past tense form did. See, when we know all these forms, past tense and present tense form of these auxiliary verbs, we should know the subject that they agree with. For example, am, it agrees with I. Is, it agrees with third person singular, but the tense has to be present tense, like he is, she is, it is. Are, the tense has to be present tense, and are agrees with we, you, they. So we should know that which person or which subject these auxiliary verbs or primary auxiliary verbs agree according to the tense. If we fail to again identify it, we fail to do the transformation correctly. So please pay attention to these auxiliary verbs and their subjects. There is something called subject verb concord or subject verb agreement, wherein most of the questions in competitive examinations also asked about subject verb agreement. So please pay attention to these helping verbs. They are also called linking verbs. They are also called auxiliary verbs. And under the heading auxiliary verbs, we have primary auxiliaries. They are to be, to have, and to do. In English, 24 auxiliary verbs are there. 24 auxiliary verbs means including modal auxiliary also. Yes, here it is, a modal auxiliary. This is very important because most of the time when we are going to learn transformation like use unless, use if not, use so that, remove to, in such cases these modal auxiliaries are going to be very helpful for all of us. Mostly if we want to give the sense of future tense, modal auxiliaries are going to help out. So what is this modal auxiliary? A modal verb or modal auxiliary is a kind of auxiliary verb. It assists the main verb to indicate possibility, potentiality, ability, permission, expectation, and obligation. As you can see, they are can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, needn't, must, ought to, used to. So every verb, modal auxiliary verb, either they are used to indicate or showcase the sense of ability, sense of permission, expectation, possibility, obligation, etc. So when you are going to use them, please use them very cautiously. So ultimately, in these two videos that we have discussed what exactly a verb means, how it is important to learn, why it is important to learn, the different types of verbs starting from finite verb to infinite verb, regular verb, irregular verb, transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, linking verbs, that is auxiliary verbs that we went through. So if you have any query, any doubt about verb and its types, anything that you want to add in this, anything you want to correct, you are most welcome. As I always say, you can reach to me at rampatil26@rediffmail.com. With this thought and with this sentence, verb is a heart of language, I end this particular video. Thank you for watching.